It has been a minute since I've been here, so getting readjusted to all the tech. Welcome back to another episode of the Rice Rocketeer, everyone. I truly apologize for having disappeared for the better part of 2 months. I didn't post at all. I didn't shoot at all. I've been very preoccupied with things in my life, and I'll explain that after I do this little segment of my review or reaction to the Indian Scout Rogue. That's what this video is really about, and that's probably why most of you guys are here. Because I haven't done this in so long, I filmed on the way out here and I totally botched it. The audio didn't come through, the mic was off, so I got some cool footage that I'll post in a different video. It looks like I'm talking while I'm riding, but you're not going to hear anything, but it was still good footage, so I'm still going to post it. But anyway, that doesn't pertain to this video, guys. Let's jump into the video. Let's get rolling. This is the Indian Scout Rogue. It's in like copper metallic or some funky color. What's up, bro? What's up, brother? I bought it 3 months ago, so that is in July-ish of, I think it was like late July 2024. I've been riding the hell out of it since then, and again, for those of you new to the channel, my primary bike for the past year, or the year prior to July of this year, was my Triumph Street Triple RS in Cosmic Yellow. I've absolutely loved that bike, but I wanted something a little more chill, so I ended up going with the Indian Scout Rogue. This is my daily now. I ride it to and from work. I live in Brooklyn. I work in Manhattan, so it's just a quick like 2-mile ride each way. Really don't, whatever bike I get, unless it's a 400, I won't be able to really get everything from it at that distance, but you know, it's better than taking the train, it's better than taking the bus. I had it for about 3 months. I'm at 2,800 miles, and I obviously did the first service, and I guess the second service is 6,000 miles, I think. I swapped out the exhaust, so I have the Shorty GP exhaust, just basically a straight pipe, and changed the game. I did a video on that. It really, like any exhaust does this for a bike, but really when you're on a bike like this, the exhaust that it comes with, they're huge. They're really long. They're super quiet, which is cool if that's what you're looking for. And it sounds good, but you can't really hear it when you're on the highway at all. So switching out the exhaust is a must. And the good thing about this bike is that the Shorty GP exhaust, those are like $80. So, you know, enough said. That's all you got to do. It's not really a big expense. That's really nice. So here, let me flip you around here. That's what they look like just from there to there. It's basically a piece of metal. This is a 1200cc. Actually, it really is an 1133cc bike, which I guess they rounded up tremendously. I think it has 100 horsepower and probably like 70 something foot-pound torque. You can look all these specs up online. This is not a technical review. And this is my first cruiser that I've ever had. I've always wanted a cruiser. I wanted to do the Harley thing, but it's too expensive and it's too much of a scene. I actually have a very funny story regarding the first time I went into a Harley dealership and why it turned me away from Harleys. But I decided to go Indian because I had the Indian FTR before, and I really love that bike. I love the feel of it. It's obviously like a completely different bike than the Scout, but it actually is the same engine, just tuned a little bit differently. And I also like Mineola Moto. That's where I am right now. They're closed today, so I can't go and show you the showroom, but I've been there multiple times in my videos. I did a test ride of the Indian Scout, not the Rogue, but just the Bobber. And there's a whole video about it. It really changed my heart. The minute I sat on it and I took it out for a test drive, just that gut feeling you get from that big V twin, so different than the triple. Street Triple is a triple, and very smooth, very precise, and it's really made to be a track bike. The RS is, so it's just very, I would say it's more of a technical bike. Like it's an amazing bike, but on the daily, it got a little bit old, and like I didn't get to enjoy it the way I should in New York City, because it's a track bike, and New York City is congested as all hell. So I needed something I could really, like, in the small sprints that I have, that I could really feel and I could really get into. And that's, from all my research prior to having this bike, that's what I understood a cruiser to be. It's a real feel ride. And I can tell you, after having this bike for 3 months, it absolutely is a feel ride. It's an emotion-evoking ride that just feels so raw and so good when you lay into the throttle. I've just loved every moment of it. It's also a plus that it comes, you know, I got a deal. Kenny hooked me up here and he gave me the back seat. I got the sissy bar from Dean Speed coming. It's been like 6 weeks. I'm really eager to get it. But it's a bike that's kind of like utilitarian in a way, kind of, in that I can throw my girlfriend on the back. We can park it outside without being worried about someone picking it up and throwing it into a truck. Anything's possible, but less so than on my triple. I've just been able to use this motorcycle as a everyday motorcycle, and it's a wonderful thing. So I can't speak highly enough of this bike. It fits my lifestyle perfectly. You know, it's a very simple bike. Like, there's not much to review other than how it feels when you're on it, and it's an A+ in my book. I absolutely love every moment I'm on it. The moment that it changed for me is, it was always good, but it was just recently, and it's kind of a funny story. I'll tell it real quick. I won't give away location. I was somewhere, and right next to me, a Harley pulls up. It was, I think, probably a Dyna. It was super custom, like, beautiful paint job, had all this shit coming out of the engine, and like, I was sure that I was going to be all right on this, and I was going to smoke them, because I've run up on many Harleys on this bike, and I was very surprised at how high this bike revs. Like, you can rev this Indian Scout Rogue and probably the Bobber out to like 7,000-8,000 RPM, and it is pushing. It is pushing. So if you're worried that it's going to be too slow, or it's just going to be like, you know, you're going to have to shift at 3,000-4,000 RPM each time, not the Scout, not this bike. You can ring it all the way out to 8 and have a great time. Totally different feel. You hit a whole separate power band, or maybe it just is the power band. A lot of torque and has a power band. It's a winner in my book. So I thought in my head, when this Harley pulled up to me, I thought, I'm going to be fine. It's, you know, I got this. At the very least, I could keep up. I shifted 1, 2, 3. I was in like 3rd gear and just throttle pinned, like wide open, and just to the point you hear the engine. I was just like, oh, I don't know if I should be up this high. And this guy passes me. I'm going fastish. And this guy just flies by me like I'm doing 20 miles an hour. And so I, you know, God bless my heart, I try to keep up with this guy, and I just can't keep up with him for the life of me. So anyway, I was very sad that day. But then the next day I rode the motorcycle. I got on the Scout, and it just felt different. It felt peppier. It felt more alive. And what I realized was, I called Kenny here and I told him this story. I was like, I feel so bad. This guy smoked me, but the bike feels better. And I think I really finally, like, I had gotten up there. I had gotten to the power band, but I hadn't held it for that long. I was going probably for like a mile. And I think I really stretched the bike out, and it really opened up. So it was about, now I'm at 2,800. It was probably 2,700 miles where I hit, and I fully opened it up. And the bike really kind of unleashed its true character. So if you have this bike, or if you're considering getting this bike, just know that it gets, as any motorcycle does, but more drastically so in this one than any motorcycle that I've owned, and it's been 6 bikes. It really becomes itself at 2,800 miles once you open it up. It's like night and day. Jekyll and Hyde, a totally different bike. So when you get it, just know that it keeps giving, and you got something to look forward to. Start with the exhaust. After the first service, after like 1,000 miles, it feels good. It feels a little looser. Right now is when it feels like itself, like it's supposed to. So as for a review of this bike, absolutely love it. The only complaints I have, suspension is a bit tough. It is a bobber. It is going to be rough. It is not supposed to be a big road glide, big cushy ride. It's kind of like throw it around the city type of bike. That being said, if you learn how to ride actively, as you all should, no problem. Just sit your butt out of the seat when you hit a bump. No problem. And slow down, too. Slow down. Above 100 miles an hour, so I've heard, this bike a little bit shaky. It's not really meant for that. The whole purpose. The things I'm mentioning as complaints, they're not complaints. They're just things that the bike really wasn't designed to do. Gets a bit shaky. This bike is really fun. It's at its most fun between like 20 and 50, 60. That's the fun range. Like, you don't need to go much faster than that. You're much lower, so your perception of speed is a lot different than when you're up high, like on a sport bike. So it feels, when you're doing 30, you feel like 50. Having a person in the back, no problem. The center of gravity is so low that it just makes it really easy. Again, I got the sissy bar coming, so it's gonna be, I won't have to worry as much about my girlfriend falling off the back. I got nothing but positive things to say about this bike, guys. At the 3-month mark, at the almost 3,000 mark, this bike just keeps getting better, and I really don't ever want to let it go. No matter what other motorcycle I get, this will be in the stable. It's just satisfying, it's good, and it's easy. So let's jump on the road. I'm going to ride back to Manhattan. We are in Mineola Moto. You guys can see a little bit of just how the bike handles, how it sounds. Yeah, and I'll fill you in on what the hell I've been doing. It's been kind of random, but that's my basic review of the Indian Scout Rogue, guys. If you're thinking about it, you should do it. Trying not to mess up the audio this time. Make sure I'm recording. Yes. I'm going to do a sync up. That's how we do this. Sync. All right. Okay. All right, guys. The moment of truth for all you people tuning in for the first time. What does this bike sound like? Oh, before I start the bike, guys, I have just come to this realization that this little pocket up here behind the front cowl can be used to house my fanny pack that people often make fun of. And now they can't see it. It's not on my waist, so I'm a little cooler because of that. And I'm very happy about that. It's such a small detail. How you know I'm getting old. Small things. Alright, guys, starting up the bike. Shorty GP exhaust, Indian Scout Rogue. Woo! Alright. Do I have a flat tire? Get rolling, guys. I don't kill anybody. Please don't kill anybody. Alright. See, the bike is almost more fun at that speed than it is when you get high up. It's just like you have fun in the low end, and when you hit that power band, I love it. Love it, I love it. And I couldn't have asked for a better day. It looked really gloomy this morning, but god damn, it is perfect. Like just the right amount of chilliness. Oh, I love this fall weather. Alright, guys, so during this boring part, while we get to the highway, I'm going to explain a little bit about where the Rice Rocketeer disappeared to after I fix my mirror. There we go. So around the time that I stopped filming, guys, the election started becoming a thing, right? I started seeing a lot more stories about it, and, you know... this is not a political channel, by the way. I'm just explaining where I've been. So, don't worry, I'm not turning this into some, you know, a channel with an agenda, political agenda. I'm just explaining. So, I am on, well, I guess you could say I am on the left. I am a liberal. I used to be blindly so. A blind liberal, where I just kind of followed how I was raised and the people I'm around, you know, and
what ended up happening this year is that I started seeing things about the election, and I had a lot of opinions about why Trump is not the right president. Again, I'm not asking for political discourse, I'm just saying. But what I realized was, even though I still stick to that story and I still feel that way, I didn't know why. Like, I think a lot of people on both sides, you just kind of, you don't do any further research, you don't do your reading, and like, well, I haven't changed my opinion, I've changed how I've gotten to my opinion. And I found that I was very uninformed, and I didn't know anything. I didn't have anything to back up my arguments, any research, or just understanding of really how the country works. Like, if you were to have asked me how taxes work, I had no clue. And that really bothered me. So around the time that all this political stuff started coming back up, I started really digging deep into how the government functions, where taxes go, how the tax system works, how wealthy people avoid taxes, and then looking into the different politicians that I constantly would argue for, what they stand for, at least to the best of my research. This part's fun. And I started forming my own opinions. Now, it turns out I haven't changed my opinions very much because, well, that's a whole other story. But anyway, I spent a lot of time doing that. I also started looking into like personal finances, like all the grown-up stuff that you should know. I'm just late to the game, but I just couldn't take my eyes off of this stuff. I'm currently throwing myself into the stock market, understanding technical analysis versus fundamental analysis, different shapes and patterns, and how to correctly research a company before investing your money. You know, all of it. There's just so much that I have to catch up on and that I have to understand. And so between work and that, I also got a car, so that's another thing that gets thrown in the mix. Is, you know, now it's a wonderful thing because I get to like taking trips on this motorcycle is great, but it's also a very solo thing. I don't do the community thing. It's not really my thing. So it's either ride by myself or don't ride at all. And now I can take my family, my girlfriend and my dog and my mom. We can go take a trip over the weekend. We can do things together. So it's been a really nice change of pace. I miss riding, but you know what? It's been like 3-4 years of straight solo riding, and it's like I got other things. This is wonderful when I can do this, but it's really like a treat. So every moment of my time really has been devoted to any of those things that I just mentioned, primarily putting my head into research and studying about, at the moment, it's stocks and how to approach different types of trading and, you know, all that. So that's where I've been. That's what I've devoted a lot of my time to. I felt really bad because, like, I just dropped off the face of the planet, but I really just couldn't pull myself away from this stuff, and it's so crucial to this point in my life where I'm at, mid-30s, still don't own a home, still don't have a career that I'm absolutely psyched about and or making a really good amount of money at. So I really need to get serious about life, and that's kind of what this past 2 months has been about. And now I have a little bit better of a handle on it, so I'm able to sneak away for a day here, a day there, and that's what today is about. So I owed you guys a review of this bike and me talking about it, so that's what I'm doing. Also some riding footage. I also needed some me time. So now you're all caught up. That's where I'm at. Let's hear this bike. This bike feels so much looser after that 2800, guys. Oh. We're gonna have a fun ride home. Granted, there's not a lot of traffic. It's been good for the past couple days, but I don't know. Who knows? There's always traffic in the city. Gonna be good. No lane splitting out here. No lane splitting. Oh, also a nice addition is this guy right here, the Cramp Buster. What an awesome name. It's totally an old man thing, but when you're on the highway and you're just chilling, it's really nice. BMW action, a little M3 behind me. I know he can't wait to put me in my place. Ooh, a little wide on that one. today, my friends. Oh my God. Very unbearable. Jesus. got a little carried away with that one. Ooh, that wind, Jesus. Almost pushed me over for a minute. Oh, the big reveal. What a beautiful day, what a beautiful ride. My friends who are tuning into the channel for the first time, guys, this is my playground usually. Usually somewhere downtown Manhattan, getting a coffee, doing something. Not usually out in Long Island. Oh man, this bike is great. Oh, the only other complaint I have, guys, is this goddamn headlight. The headlight is so bad. it's like fits the bike. It's like style-wise, it fits the bike. It's kind of like this old school reflective yellow light, but the problem is I could care less about the style when it comes to my visibility. And of course you can buy the LED light, which apparently is like amazing. But it's like $600-700, I think. Don't quote me on that, but it's expensive. And it's really annoying that I have to shell out for a light that works adequately. That should just kind of come with the bike. So that's the only thing, really, I'd say that's frustrating about this motorcycle. I found myself kind of wanting to move in the direction of a bagger later on, like in a couple years, just because I would love to. I think, like, again, the Harley thing, I just can't stomach, but they're something ST. Is it low? Oh, the Lowrider ST looks awesome. It has that cowl in the front. It has the two bags. I'll post a photo on the screen when I make this video. I like that style, and I know Indian has big baggers like that, but they seem to be. There's nothing in between. It's like to me, the Lowrider ST in the Harley range is in between, like the Road Glide type motorcycles, like the big boys, and their entry-level bikes. This is the entry-level bike, and then next is, I guess, the Chieftain, which is a really big bike. It's actually not that much more bike, it's just a lot of plastic and super wide and etc. But I wish there was something in between, because I would totally move to that next. Or maybe that's just the motorcycle gods telling me to step it up and just jump straight to something bigger. I don't know. That's where I always end up anyway. So, but yeah, this bike has opened the cruiser world to me, and all I want to do is just chill out. Big fan. I guess the inevitable question, guys, is this a beginner-friendly bike? In some ways, yes. In other ways, no. I think in terms of seat height, absolutely. Like, being able to flat foot this bike, even for me, even though I'm not really a beginner yet, I'm kind of phasing out of the beginner phase. Being able to flat foot this bike has given me so much more confidence when riding a motorcycle. I never have to worry about how am I going to back it up if I find myself in a difficult position. It just makes me feel a lot more safe and secure, and I think for a new motorcycle rider, that is a consideration. Can you flat foot this bike? Do you feel comfortable on it? So in that regard, yes, I do think that this bike is good for a beginner. I also think that the throttle and the power delivery is very predictable. I think it's smooth, and you like on my triple, if I do that, it could be a really bad time. On this bike, I can, and it is fine, you know, because of the way that it's, well, really the fact that it's a V-twin and the way it's geared. It's not as reactive, and I don't want you to misinterpret that as like it's non-responsive bike, but it has a lot more forgiveness than many bikes. So again, in that regard, I think yes, this is a good bike for a beginner. But this bike is really powerful. if you are not used to a motorcycle at all, this level of power can easily get you in over your head super quick. Woo. So in that regard, not so much for a beginner. It's, I think, 500 and something pounds, like mid 500s. It's also, even though you're low to the ground, you can get both feet down. It's a heavy bike, right? Like, you might want something that's a little lighter, and that's, I guess it's kind of a trade-off. It's a low seat, but it's heavier, so it's like, you know, pick your poison. And many people, if you're like I'm 5'7", 145 pounds. If you're a bigger dude than me, it's probably not even a thing. But for someone like me, I do have to consider that. And like, I started with the BMW G310R. The seat height was relatively low, higher than this, but low. And the bike was like 350. I don't know. It was a really light bike. So all in all, it was beginner friendly, and I felt good on that bike. I'm gonna chill out here so I can not scream as much. Yeah, I mean, if you're considering this as a bike, I think you could do this as a beginner bike. I previously said, like, and I just want to let you all know, I've recalibrated and I have a better head on my shoulders. When I had my Indian FTR, I was like, yeah, it could be a beginner bike. No, absolutely not. When I did my 6-month review for the Triumph Street Triple RS, my other bike, in Cosmic Yellow, I was like, yeah, you know, if you're really careful, this could be a beginner bike. No, absolutely not. Don't get that as a beginner bike. This bike, I think you could do. But it's still, just keep in mind, it's a lot of power. Even though, you know, 100 horsepower, there are higher bikes. 100 horsepower is a lot to manage as a new rider. Like, you want to be looking at like 70 at most. At most. You know, just be forgiving with yourself, you know. But out of all the bikes that I've had, not the BMW G310R clearly is a beginner bike. I would even say this over the MT-07. The MT-07 was very reactive and very peppy in a way that I think might throw a new rider, could throw a new rider. This bike, it will take a bunch to, it will take you giving it a lot of input for it to really throw you off the bike, but it will, absolutely. And if you freak out and you grab the throttle, and you could have a really bad time. So, I think this, yeah, I think it's capable of being a beginner bike, but also I think you should just totally start on something else. Get a Honda Rebel, beat it up for a year, move on to something like this. That's my advice on is this for beginners. Other question I can answer, is this a good city bike? Absolutely, guys. Absolutely. I think cruisers actually are, I mean, up to a certain point, are a good city bike. Again, it's really easy to operate. It's just, this is such a bare bones motorcycle. Pull the clutch in, clunk it into gear, and then hit the throttle. Like, there's not much to it. There's not much throttle management you have to do, because it's a very manageable delivery of power, and I think in the city that's a great thing. One thing you do want to keep in mind if you're street parking it, there's benefits and negatives. There's less of a market, and do not take my, this is not, I'm not telling you that your bike is safe if you have a cruiser. What I'm saying is, it is safer than a sport bike, I believe. Although I've heard of people getting their cruisers stolen last year when I was working at Triumph, so take it for what you will, but I believe that slightly less of a target. Sport bikes you can part out, and there's tons of people who want to buy pieces of sport bikes, and they're light, so you can throw them in cars. A little harder to do it with this. You can still do it, but it's somewhat safer in that regard. It is a longer bike. The wheelbase is longer, so when you park, you are going to stick out. Keep in mind, you know, that's a thing. This is actually on the shorter side, I believe. I've seen some cruisers that are just like obscenely long, and it's like, how do you even park that? You gotta park at an angle, you know. I see that a lot. So I think good for a city bike in terms of rideability. You don't get the shocks that you really need for bumpy, completely messed up roads like New York City. But then again, if you want the style of bike, it doesn't matter what brand you buy, what model you buy, it's not going to be a comfortable ride in that regard. You just have to stand up, sit down. Not that hard. Let's see, what other questions? Would I choose this over my triple? I think for where I'm at in my life right now, 35 years old, kind of chilled out. I don't go out all that much. I've been through the little phase where I need to rip it every time I ride. Yes, absolutely, I would choose this. Again, like I said at the beginning of the video, it's much more utilitarian, quote unquote, minus the fact that there's no bags. I can throw my girlfriend in the back. It's really easy to use. I can park it outside and not feel 100% like it's going to get stolen in 2 minutes. I really like this lifestyle. I've settled into it. I will say when I get on my triple, again, it's so precise compared to this bike that it takes me a minute. I'm like a complete novice again because I'm like super nervous about the throttle and the clutch, and like it takes me a minute to settle back in. Probably like 10-15 minutes, and then I'm back to where I used to be. But this is a much more relaxing ride in general. And I think right now I would do cruiser 100% over the sport bike thing. I will say, get the sport bike thing out of your system early though. I think that's totally worth it. I have a blast every time I get on my street triple. It's like a totally different type of excitement. But it's something that's unnecessary in my life. Like, it's an unnecessary risk. It's also like not convenient because I'm always riding to somewhere to do something now, so then I gotta take a huge backpack. It's, this is a lot more suited to where I'm at, but I cannot deny that sport bikes are likely more fun, like boyish childhood fun. I would choose this bike over my triple for where I'm at in my life right now. Let's go through Soho again. Go to the Dainese store, which is also closed, but we will finish our day there. Actually, no, I'm gonna get coffee. We're going to get coffee, guys. How is it riding 2 up? I'm just trying to think of shit, guys. I didn't really think this video through. How is it riding 2 up on this bike? Super easy. It's low enough my girlfriend can swing her leg over. The only negative thing is that, again, the shocks for when you have somebody on the back, it's not the most pleasant experience. So it's kind of in between because she's super thankful and happy that she can get on it. Unlike my street triple, she had to like climb over me. She's shorter than me, and I'm already short, so she had to like hold onto my back, like climb up the bike to get on. And then she's like pitched over me. It's like any sport bike, right? They're not really meant to be 2-up machines, but that was like, she really wasn't having that. And so she's very glad that this is low and that she can kind of like put her feet down if she wants to, and that it's just a nicer, more upright position too. But she does not like the fact that the shocks are terrible back there, and like, as you can see from all this stuff in the roads, like, I have to be super, super active, more so than when I'm riding solo, that I don't hit that many bumps, because she feels it. Like, it kind of just like, it goes straight through your spine, especially when you're over the wheelbase back here, you're like directly over the wheel. So for her, it's that part's uncomfortable, but I think having a sissy bar will give her a little bit more of like a framework to work within, and because right now she can't move back at all or she might fall off the bike. So so I will update you all when I get it back. When I get the sissy bar back there. I'm very excited about that, because that means I can put a backpack back there, and my dream, my hope. What the fuck? My hope is to be able to strap a bag back there and have it, like, I might even get a bag and like put a bunch of just like towels and stuff to see if I can have a backrest. I don't know. It might be a completely illogical thing, but like I've seen some photos of people on Sportsters on like old refurbished, or what do you call it? I don't know the term, but the culture of people who remake shit, and they put like all their bags and stuff in the back, and they're kind of just chilling, riding, and they have the thing behind them to lean on. That seems super, super delightful to me, especially for when I do over 100 miles, which is like a couple times a month. That seems like it'd be really nice. Soho, my friends, beautiful people everywhere. Traffic everywhere. Can I make it? Can I make it? Oh, I put my foot down though, it doesn't count. Look at all these trendy, overpriced restaurants that I used to work at, that I used to run, I used to manage these places. I stay as far away as I can. It's also like going back out to restaurants, it's really annoying having to pay for the food that I used to eat for family meal. Like, it's just, I don't know, it's a me thing. I know that's a stupid thing to say, but it's like, you want to spend like $150 for like a brunch when I used to just eat it in the back dish pit, like off of paper plate before a shift. I don't know. It's all perception of value, I suppose, yeah? Perception of value. It's very relevant to the stock market, which is what I have been studying. Boom, connections. I'm making connections here. Oh, hey. Go, my friend. I don't know if you guys can see in the back of this car, you can see the headlight and what it looks like. Very old school. Guys, this is Prince Street. I'm sure you've seen it many times in my video. The main street of Soho, where all the fancy stores are. We got the Apple store coming up on the right. And a lot of other stuff I don't know because I don't really go in there. Valentino. Oh, this cafe is really cool. I've yet to ever eat here. Man. Oh yeah, it was so hot in there. Come on, go. Hey, come on, Jesus. Oh, it got really quiet. Alright guys, well, nice ride, nice day, nice ride. That's my version of a review for the Indian Scout Rogue. Came here to my favorite place. I stopped here before work and I got a coffee. I've since been on a diet, so I can't really have too much sugar. I'm going to look at the pastries though and enjoy. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.